M. 33 got a Seuss text from my wife 31. F. How do I process this? M. 33, married for a year to my wife who is 31. F. Within 2 months of marriage after being in a relationship for a decade, she took a job 300 miles away from where we live and our marriage never really got to settle down. Although the last year has seen its ups and downs, I have started to notice some off behavior. This one time while she was visiting I saw a text on her notification bar where this male colleague texted, "I am not going to be staring at you." She is almost always on the phone while visiting, but while away I almost always never get an immediate response from her. I could be overreacting, but for someone who always has her phone on her, it could be not too much to expect taking hours to reply to texts from your husband. Now here is the kicker. Last night she sent me a text out of the blue that read, "Babe. Smelling amazing." Unless there is some sort of text game going around that I am not aware of, I think that text was definitely not for me. When I asked her what did she mean, she said she was talking about this perfume I used to wear. It just doesn't make sense. We have been together for over a decade, but I don't recall her addressing me as babe. Just to be sure, I had this phone since 4 years and I just tried checking our chats to see if she has ever addressed me as babe, but I couldn't find any other instance. Let's just say she was actually recalling a perfume I used to wear. Why would she text, "Babe. Smelling amazing"? Her English is pretty good and she has never ever sent texts like these with punctuation all over the place and not making contextual sense. More context. She is due in town for Christmas. Should I wait till then or catch her off guard before that in her campus? I don't think you're overreacting. I would tell her that you know the text wasn't meant for you and that you want to know the truth. If she's never called you babe, it makes sense that it was for someone else. My advice is to surprise her and just show up. Any loving wife would be thrilled. See what happens then. Her comeback made me laugh out loud. She thought you smelled good 4 years ago, so she says smelling amazing? You learned a lot from that text. She is calling someone babe. She is getting close enough to them to smell. She is horrible on her feet. She is a bad liar. Something is going on. Time to plan your exit strategy. It sounds like she has already started planning hers. Bro, wait, she lives 300 miles away from you and is being shady with her texts? Bro, I DK how to tell you this, but I'm not sure she's not cheating on you. You have to talk to her, soon. And if she doesn't want to be in your marriage, let her go. Why are you even still married? It's been a year and neither of you are making moves to be together. There's literally no point. Why didn't you move with her? Why would she up and move without talking to you about it prior? She's absolutely cheating, at least emotionally. My 32 female fiancé, 32 male, keeps basement door locked? I 32 female have been with my fiancé 32 male for almost 3 years now. Let me preface this by saying I absolutely love this man, more than I ever thought I could love anyone. Our relationship has almost no issues until recently. I moved into his home a couple months ago when I found out I was pregnant. He has an office downstairs in the basement where his PC is. He told me right when we first started dating that he didn't want me or the dog in his office, ever. I thought it was a little weird, but I brushed it off. He's been into gaming since I've known him and this has never been an issue for me. Before I lived there, I would usually only go over on the weekends and he would sometimes go down there to game while I hung out upstairs. Now that we are living together, he goes down there every single night right after he gets home from work to game. I also really don't care about this because I go to bed early for work. The part where it got weird. A few weeks after I moved in, he bought a lock for his office door and told me it was for work. Says that if he wants to be able to work from home, he has to have his computer locked up. He works in a healthcare field where he has access to patient records. This would be weird to me regardless, but what makes it weirder is that never once in the 3 years we have been together has he ever mentioned that he works from home, at all. I actually remember specifically asking him if he was able to work from home and he had told me no. I've spent every weekend with him and he has never gone down there to work, and I know that he goes in to work physically on weekdays. I didn't question him when he did this with the lock, but it's been eating away at me. I know he didn't do this because of work, or at least that is what my gut is telling me. I can't think of what he could possibly be hiding that he doesn't want me to see that bad. I know he isn't cheating on me, and I don't really care about porn or have ever told him I don't want him watching it or whatever for him to feel the need to want to hide it that bad. I haven't brought it up to him because I know he will get defensive and probably get mad at me. I also am a firm believer in still maintaining some type of privacy within a relationship. I let him have his space and do his own things and never question him or snoop. But I feel like having a room locked and completely off limits to your partner is a little extreme. I'm just looking for some advice, maybe from some other men? Maybe I'm just thinking into it too much and I should let it go. Is this just normal behavior? I know, man caves are a thing for a reason. I don't want him to feel like he can't have his own space. But thinking about what he could possibly want to hide from me that bad is just driving me crazy. There is also always the chance that I am making all of this up in my head and he really did need to do this for work. I'm afraid that if I ask, and he really is telling me the truth, he is going to think I don't trust him and I may damage our relationship. We're having a baby in a couple months and I'm excited to start a family with him, but this issue is distracting me from it. Has anyone experienced something like this? Side note. This isn't like some creepy basement where he could be hiding bodies or something like that lol. I've seen the room before, it's just a normal little office with his computer, his guitar, and some old random boxes of stuff. He could buy a locked cabinet for work security. The door lock is for you. It could be many things from the banal to the bizarre, but as you say if you are going to be married and have kids this is not tenable. If it's about space he seems to get quite a lot from you without any issues. It's clearly about something else. Perhaps bringing it up in a counseling session to prepare for marriage and more? Somehow, you have to talk to him and get an answer that makes sense to you. You're not overthinking. There's a reason he's being secretive about this room, innocent or not. Why do you feel like he'd get mad if you asked him about it? Does he typically go on the defensive when you ask him to open up about things? People who have nothing to hide don't get mad when you probe them for information. His reason may not be nefarious, but he's not telling you everything. You're not overreacting. I had a relative whose BF, at the time, wouldn't let her in a certain room of the house for a few years. He ended up inappropriately touching a kid in their home and went to jail. I helped clean out the house, and there were naked pictures of children and other super weird cult-like stuff in there. I told her I would have snooped if someone told me to stay out of a room where I lived. Edited to add I would leave if he won't let you down there. I'd be afraid of him being Ted Bundy or something. I haven't brought it up to him because I know he will get defensive and probably get mad at me. I also am a firm believer in still maintaining some type of privacy within a relationship. Sorry, but I'd be quite concerned if you can't even bring this up without him getting mad. Yes, man caves are a thing, however, you're in a serious relationship, living together, and you're about to have a kid. And he bought a lock for his man cave. I'm afraid that if I ask, and he really is telling me the truth, he is going to think I don't trust him and I may damage our relationship. He's damaging the relationship by being secretive, and apparently not trusting you for some reason. And you don't trust him fully because of his behavior. And without trust, any relationship is doomed. My first thought is sex dungeon and there's prisoners laughing my ass off like that bastard in Ohio that kidnapped and imprisoned 3 girls, women for over a decade, in locked rooms in his house. And the basement. I would demand to be shown the room. And I wouldn't want to live with someone, marry someone, or have kids with someone that had this massive secret to keep from their spouse. Nope, it cannot be good or innocent if he treats it like that. It's not just priceless collectibles. And if it is and he trusts you that little to even be shown what is in there before locking you out forever per meter, then he trusts you so little I would be offended and want to leave anyway. My husband and I are big on personal space, but I cannot imagine having a room in our home being off limits to me. That alone is really odd. But you being unable to bring this up out of fear he'll get mad at you is a huge gaping red flag for this relationship and this person. A relationship where you aren't comfortable to discuss something like this is not a healthy one. Given that, his behavior now seems much more creepy than simply, rather odd. A locked door. Going through that extra trouble all to make sure you don't go into the room. That screams unhinged. Maybe that computer should be checked. I, 24F, and my boyfriend, 24M, are having issues with something his mother said. Is she racist? For context, I am from an Asian country but I grew up partially in the States, so I'm perfectly bilingual. My boyfriend is white and so are both his parents. I recently met his mother and she seemed nice at first, but she eventually started dropping weird comments. Example 1. We were at a restaurant and we were speaking in English the entire time. She then asked me name of a sauce and I replied with the name, which was in the local language. Then I proceeded to start explaining what it was made of, but then she cut me off and said, "Speak English." My boyfriend said that in that context she was saying it as a joke, but honestly, on top of the fact that she didn't even bother learning how to say hello or thank you in my language when visiting me in my own country, the "speak English" comment felt really inappropriate. I felt embarrassed in the restaurant and my boyfriend did not say anything at the time. Example 2. She was talking about the time she was working for a company and then proceeded to tell me about a man whose parents had immigrated from my country to the States. I thought it was just an interesting fun story until she dropped, "He eventually imported a girl from my country." Needless to say, I felt offended by her use of the word imported to describe a human being, and especially someone that is in a similar situation as me, about to marry an American man. I pointed it out at the time, but then she said, "Well, I mean like a mail order bride, she didn't even speak English." As if not speaking English somehow makes it okay to dehumanize them and refer to them as objects. My boyfriend did not say anything at the time. When I brought it up again in private to my boyfriend, he told me that she didn't intend to be racist and therefore she is not racist. He keeps saying she may be uneducated on this topic of racism but because she doesn't hold any hate towards a different race, which he said wasn't racist. I told him that it doesn't matter the intention, which he said was simply racist, and that I was disappointed in him for not standing up for me at the time. He says that I need to understand how it would be really difficult for him to talk to his mother about these issues. I am feeling really betrayed and hurt. I love him very much and I know he loves me too. But I don't want to marry into a family that casually says racist things, especially when my boyfriend doesn't even stand up for me. His mother has also said things like, "I guess I won't be his number one anymore. It's okay, you don't need to worry, I'll give him up to you eventually." And it makes me feel really weirded out. I'm not trying to replace his mother, but she's making me feel like I'm stealing him from her and I feel really uncomfortable. One more thing, he's tried to break up with me in the past but then he retracted, saying that he wanted me to meet his mother first because he wanted his opinion of me. Then after a few weeks I met his mom and apparently his mother has said that she sees nothing wrong with this relationship. She's also told me that she's happy that her son has met someone like me. So I'm getting really mixed signals here and I don't really know what to do. It's clear she has racist views but she does seem to like me, as ironic as it is. She really likes that I'm getting my graduate degree in STEM soon. My boyfriend has a high school diploma and is working on his associates. She's just offered to send me gifts from the States and wants to know if there's anything I want. I'm confused and I need advice. If he is too afraid of his mother to correct her racism, why is he dating a woman of another race? It's fine with him to subject you to her ignorant comments but not to speak with her about it? He wanted to break up but he needed his mommy's opinion. And you stuck around? Why? She didn't intend to be racist, so she is not racist. That is not how it works even a bit. He will allow anything from his mother, you should just break up. That's really messed up and not okay. All of this is taking place in your country? Damn, she is racist. She may like you, but that's only because you aren't like one of them. She is making a begrudging exception for you. Meanwhile your boyfriend is, at best, indifferent to his mother's racism. Unless and until he starts having some overt integrity, you'll have decisions to make. Talk to him, and be honest. Yeah, not cool. If you stay with this dude, it's like you're getting a 2-for-1 shitty in-law. Racism and overbearing mommy, think long and hard about what your future with these people will look like. It is also time for some frank discussions with your boyfriend about distancing yourself from these people. Would you want your kids to be around them? Anyone that thinks blurting out, "Speak English," as a joke, is actually pretty comfortable being racist and is in fact not joking. I'm 26F, considering to break up with my boyfriend, 27M, of 3 years because he won't get a job. I, 26F, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, 27M, for about 3 years. In the past 2 years, he hasn't had a job due to feeling burned out from his previous work as a software engineer. He quit because he hated the environment and needed a break, but since then, he's been relying on his savings to cover rent and living expenses. He's currently back in school, and his parents are paying for his tuition and supporting him financially. When I first met him, he had a stable job, a steady income, and was more active and motivated. But now, he spends most of his time at home, often saying there's no point in doing anything because of the state of the world. While he's extremely supportive, caring, and emotionally fulfilling, I found myself struggling with his lack of ambition. I want someone who is more stable, who handles challenges head-on, and who contributes to the relationship both emotionally and practically. I'm starting to feel like I need a partner who is more motivated and independent, and I'm considering ending the relationship because of this. I know he's going through a tough time, but I don't know if I can wait around for him to figure things out. Should I tell him that he needs to find a job? He's going to school, presumably for a degree of some kind, which means that he probably isn't in a position to handle a full-time job and probably at best can handle some part-time work stocking shelves at Target or something like that. And if he's got the savings to be paying his share, then he is there for you practically while he goes to school anyways. I also echo the whole, he's depressed, angle. Seems like he is. I'd talk to him about that and support him where he is working, which is his education. He's going to school though? And he sounds depressed. He's probably going to get another job once he's finished with school. If you're not feeling it, then end it. It's probably not really about the job. I can say that if I had a girlfriend tell me she left her last boyfriend when he was struggling because he wasn't ambitious enough, I would be deeply concerned and start considering leaving her because she just showed me that she can't be relied on when the going gets tough. Your boyfriend is deeply depressed. This was a sad read. Your nagging will not help him. He needs to see a professional mental health worker and spend time with his family to get some encouragement and life advice. What's he studying in school right now? Why does he need to find a job? He's literally in school. That's a job. He's bettering himself and setting himself up for success.